Nutrition Depot, your fitness fuel.
Welcome to Nutrition Depot podcast. I'm Hannah Bacani, your host, and today we kick off a new series in the podcast called Supplementation Simplified. Our special guest today has been with us since day one, literally episode one. Tim Nutrition, everybody.
Hey, thank you so much.
Hey. So he has BS Nutrition Dietetics, registered nutritionist and dietitian, NSCA certified strength and conditioning specialist, MNU clinical performance nutritionist, PN certified nutrition coach, PN1. Hello, welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me back here.
Yeah,
Previously, I was a host, and now I'm
exactly.
the guest.
The tables have turned.
Yes, indeed.
So the first time we met was in the running forum that we had for Nutrition Depot.
Yes, correct.
And there were so many questions from the audience. In fact, puro ikaw lang. For a while.
I mean, nutrition, right?
Yeah, because I think there's still a lot of curiosity when it comes to nutrition and supplementation. So we have a lot to learn from you. And a lot of the questions today are actually asked from our Instagram.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So welcome back. Is it time
It's
to
time.
kick off the Q&A?
Let's do this.
With Tim Nutrition. So the first question that people ask, the basic one, is what nutrients, supplements should athletes focus on in their diet?
The nutrients and supplements that athletes should focus on in the diet are basically the supplements or nutrients that they lack per se. So with athletes, the most commonly under-eaten nutrient in terms of like availability as well is of course protein, right? It's like it's the sourcing of protein that's the problem. Specifically lean proteins, right? Because you're yourself, right? If you're gonna go out there and you're under a very busy schedule, where are you gonna get lean proteins?
I can't just get boiled chicken breast everywhere.
Exactly. So usually whey protein in any form is the most common one. And usually it is also followed by being in a humid, hot climate, right? So it's followed by electrolytes, probably is the second one. And any other form of stimulatory supplements would be the third because it's athletes, right? It's usually they want energy, they want focus. So yeah, mostly those top three things are the main things that you want as an athlete.
I like how you touched upon like pre-workout, post for the protein, and also during.
Yeah, it's
So
a complete
it's a complete experience.
trifecta for most athletes.
Yeah, and I like how you brought up protein because I think that's the intro to supplementation for a lot of regular people like me who just love working out. The first thing that people say is protein.
Correct.
But recently, I've seen a lot of posts online about creatine. So protein and creatine go hand in hand in supplementation. Why is it so important in sports nutrition, and how can you best add it to maximum benefit?
So I think the key to answering this is you have to first know what the role of protein is in your body. So protein is basically a macronutrient, meaning you need it in bigger amounts versus vitamins like vitamin A, D, E, K, B, right? So protein is responsible for majorly your growth and repair of bodily tissues. Now, there are nuances such as if you don't eat enough carbohydrates, you tend to use protein for other things than its main function. So making sure that you do have enough protein in your diet is very substantially important to an athlete's diet. Now, secondly, creatine. What's creatine for? Well, creatine does three things in your body. So basically, creatine is a substance that's naturally found in your body, and you can get creatine naturally. However, the amounts that you need to get for the benefits of 1 teaspoon of creatine is so big to the point that you have to consume like 2 to 3 pounds of meat per day. Yeah, to get the same effect. So usually it is in a supplement form, right? So what does creatine do? Well, creatine does primarily three things. Number one is that when you expend energy, you have something called ATP. Okay? Yeah, it's adenosine triphosphate. It's a mouthful, I know.
So ATP na lang.
ATP na lang, correct. When you start using that as energy, you cleave off the triphosphate into diphosphate. So yung 3 naging 2. So creatine, the full name of creatine is phosphocreatine. You have the letter P there. It adds back the missing na yung dye, magiging dry ulit siya so that you can keep going for stronger and longer. So that's what creatine does. It's like an extra power bank for your body. So that's one. Number two, it acts like a cell volumizer because it allows you to retain some water in the muscle fiber, thereby increasing its size. Basically, lumalaki yung
Pumped.
pump. Yeah,
You get
exactly.
jacked.
That's the name. You get
These are the
jacked.
key words.
Yan. So, mubuo siya. And then, the third function is basically, it allows for better muscle endurance and strength. So, parang as much as 10 to 15%. So, if you're more of a person who trains in the 8 to 12 rep ranges, yung mga hindi ka maximum na 1 rep lang, it does help by about 15%.
Wow.
Yes, because of the same mechanism na nagbibigay siya ng energy and it gives you that added hydration inside the cell, right? So in terms of strength as well, kung max strength athlete ka, yung mga tipong power lifters, also benefits you about 10%. So yeah.
This is for power, endurance, as well as
Strength. Exactly. Yun.
Why are people so afraid of creatine though?
I think it's a stigma behind it, just because it's a white powder. So since most people don't really understand, that's why I said earlier, the key to answering this question is knowing what it's for.
Yeah.
Right? And creatine is the most extensively studied supplement out there, 35 years and counting. It's one of the OG supplements out there. So as much as safety is concerned, recommendations now even range to young, like very, very young people, like children, all the way to elderly people. Ganun na siya ka-safe. So as long as you have no pre-existing conditions like kidney issues, in a healthy system, it is very, very, very safe.
I actually saw this video online about a dad, and he was like, I used to give my son creatine when he was growing up.
I would.
I would too.
Yeah, as a professional nutritionist,
Right?
I would.
Exactly.
Because the benefits range not only from that, but may cognitive increases din siya eh, as well as even immunity. There are links to it.
Even cognitive.
Yeah, cognitive. Like brain function, memory. Yeah, sobrang dami.
So this is my question because I'm small and others are big.
Okay. So
This
the
is-
size matter. Ganun.
Yeah, the size matter in terms of the amount you need because I know it's like 5 mg, but should it be the same for all?
Right. Yeah, correct. That's a very valid question kasi yeah, the size matter. I guess the answer is depends how you use it, right? So usually the recommendations range from 2 grams all the way to 10.
Okay.
Okay. So for the mass public, you can just simply say somewhere between that is okay. And there are no reported side effects naman except for gassing and bloating, especially in the higher ranges ng 20-25s. So in the context of practicality, if you're not really weight training, so that means you don't need as much, you might want to go to the lower ends like 2, 3. Ayan, just for safety, right? But if you are really like weight training, then you can go as high as 5, maybe 10 if you're bigger. So as a general mass recommendation for the public, somewhere between 2 to
2
5.
to 5. Okay, that's the magic number, 2 to 5. And what type of creatine do you recommend?
A really good one and very common one and also like very efficient one is creatine monohydrate, just because the way it's structured is very absorbable for the body, especially when combined with carbs. So fun fact.
I take NutriBio, creatine monohydrate.
There we go.
Yeah. Now, I still have a lot of questions about creatine, but I think we're going to have a full episode on that since a lot of us, a lot of women, a lot of beginners at the gym ask these types of questions.
Right, yeah.
The next one we got was, what are BCAAs and why are they important for athletes? What are your thoughts on pre-workout supplements?
Okay, so BCAAs are basically a group of amino acids called essential amino acids, meaning your body cannot create protein unless all amino acids are present. And these 3, so namely isoleucine, leucine, and valine, isa yung pa-special, basically.
Sino yung pa-special doon?
Kailangan nandun. VIP sila. Pag wala sila doon, no protein will be created. Yun. So that's why it's important for them to be there, especially for vegans, vegetarians, because there are some proteins na hindi sila complete in terms of amino acid profile. So I won't get into the nuances now, but usually plant-based sources are less complete than animal-based sources. And yun nga, inaantay nila yung VIP before they create.
They roll up.
Yeah, before they roll up into a complete, hey, let's get the party started, gawa tayo ng protein. Okay? So that's actually what the BCAA is for. And among other things, it does, in terms for athletic performance, is number one, they can be used as an energy substrate. So parang on top of kaninang topic natin na creatine, extra power bank pa ulit siya. Possible yon. And then number two is that it attenuates muscle soreness. Attenuate meaning it kind of tapers down the muscle soreness that you would get from a workout.
Oh.
Ayun. And then the third one is that BCAAs also decrease post-workout muscle soreness as well. So, pag pinag-combine mo lahat yon, it becomes a really good way or a really bang for the buck na supplement for most athletes who especially undereat protein.
Really? So for BCAAs, does that mean you can prolong your workout?
Yeah, I would say meron, may effect. It's not substantial, but meron siya.
Okay. Interesting. I need to add that to my list of supplements.
But yeah, especially if you feel like you're not eating enough protein. So, but in studies have also showed that people who are very good at taking protein, let's say they're hitting their body weight in grams of protein per day, less yung benefit ni BCAA because they're already getting the complete source already. So remember, these are just building blocks of protein. Kung buo na yung nakuha mo, it has less use.
Does it matter when you take the BCAAs?
Commonly, it's used for a muscle sparing effect. So on a technical basis, you don't really need to time your BCAA intake. But we've seen, of course, that when you train, that's when you have the most amount of muscle damage. And to decrease that, you want to take the BCAAs there. The common dosage is about 5 to 10 grams.
Okay.
And then it's diluted with water and you sip it throughout the workout.
Okay. So when people are working out hard, sometimes you need a little sweet treat.
Yeah, exactly. It
That's
does
what
help
they're
with
saying.
hunger too. So,
Ooh.
yeah, because like it's a sweet, cold drink.
Usually there's fun flavors too.
Diba?
Speaking of sweet flavors, there's also pre-workouts. What are your views on that?
Okay, so the pre-workout area is a big debate kasi the benefits of it are very conditional. What I mean by that in an athletic setting context is there are some sports that would benefit from high stimulation. Let's say contact sports, MMA, things like that. Things that you've already drilled into your system, yung mga fine motor skills, that all you need is stimuli and aggression. However, for finer motor skills, like let's say archery, shooting, you do not want to be hooked up on 200
Kasi
mg,
you might
300.
shake.
Exactly. So definitely for most people who are listening to this, right, it's usually weight training, right? So with weight training, there's not a lot of fine motor skills involved because you're literally handling a heavy weight and you're just literally pushing it to the best of your ability. So I would say for beginners, maybe don't do it yet just because maybe the form isn't there yet. So you're still using your brain to actively connect to the exercise. You're learning the skill. But for more advanced trainees, probably it's a good way to explore that.
If you start changing up your workout routine and you start doing it in the morning, would it then be advisable?
Okay, so there's like a very simple way to answer it and there's a nuanced way to answer it. The simple way to answer it is basically if pangit tulog mo, you need extra energy and you don't have pre-existing medical conditions, the main ingredient of a pre-workout is caffeine. Most people take coffee anyway. Me, I personally just take black coffee and I'm good. But if you've been abusing caffeine your entire life, then maybe taking that pre-workout might give you that kick that you need. Yeah. So nuanced way, well, there's this entire thing that we can open up about heart rate variability, your nervous system readiness, and that entire box of worms. So
Another episode.
Madami siya.
It deserves a
Mabigat.
full episode.
Mabigat siya.
Ang daming questions in my mind right now. And again, if you have any other questions for Tim Nutrition, he's going to be here for a while. A few episodes. Do send it in our Instagram. Now, for the next one, we were at the running forum and a lot of talk were about carbohydrates.
Correct.
So why are carbohydrates so important for athletes? And when is the best time to consume carbohydrate supplements like gels, drinks, or chews?
Gotcha. So carbohydrates, again, what is it for? Carbohydrates are basically the fastest way for your body to get energy. The easiest analogy of this is, si carbohydrates kapitbahay mo. So, kung hihiram ka ng something, tawid ka lang, you have your energy, right?
Oh.
Yeah, there are other substrates like proteins and fats. However, the pathways, yung distance nila, nasa kabilang bayan pa yan, yung isa nasa ibang bansa pa. So, that's pertaining to proteins and fats, respectively. So, as much as possible, you want to use carbohydrates and ensure na you can access your neighbor.
Your trusted neighbor.
Your trusted neighbor na alam mong bibigyan ka ng energy.
Sure
anytime.
thing yun.
Yeah, sure thing. Nakatok ka lang, bigay yun.
That's a great way to put it because now I
Yeah.
remember.
Right? So now, why is it important for athletes? It's because athletes use a lot of energy, right? Isipin mo, the difference between a regular person, like an office worker or sedentary person, versus an athlete is that athletes train 2 times, maybe 3 in a day. May weight training yan, may own skills training yan, at meron silang team training usually in a team sport setting. So that's 3 a day. Versus an office worker who defines exercise as nagpapawis ako ng once or twice a week. So that's why the availability, the rate at which they can access the energy is very important. That's why they need a lot of carbohydrates. Now, for that second question na sinabi mo na, when is the best time to take, what's that again? Gels,
Drinks, or chews.
Okay. So if you take a look into the composition of these items, they're actually formed of very simple or easily absorbable carbohydrates. So not all of them are sugars, but they are metabolized in such a way that at the end of it, they become sugars as well. So since simple sugars sila and very mabilis yung makukuha nilang response, it's best that you take them probably conditionally before a workout, in the context na, let's say, na busy ka and you forgot to eat. So you need a quick top up of energy before you start hammering your workout. That's conditional, because if you actually ate well before, you don't need it, because you have the stored energy from your last meal. I would say that the most important way for you to take this is probably mid-workout. So usually workouts lasting beyond 40 minutes would require a certain dosage na of one of those simple carbohydrates, just to keep your energy stores going. Especially if your workouts go beyond like 1 hour, 1 hour 30, it becomes increasingly and increasingly more important na may kinukuha kang.
And this is particularly prominent with runners.
Yeah, because those sports are the ones that require more than 1 hour usually.
And then, so the efficiency of the gels, of the drinks or chews, is because it's easily absorbed.
Correct.
Okay. Instead of like,
Yeah, kasi pag may mga complex carbohydrates din, na kapitbahay mo pa rin naman, mas malayo lang ng konti.
konti, may drive.
May drive konti. Yun.
Doon tayo sa walking distance.
Yung simple carbs, yung mga sinabi mo, literal, baka nga labas lang nitong studio. Parang ganun.
Doon tayo sa efficient.
Yes.
Okay. So next up, when do you consider taking omega-3 fatty acids and vitamin D supplements? And how can you tell if your body is absorbing them effectively?
Right. Omega-3 and vitamin D are basically supplements, right? So when you say supplements, what does that make you think of?
An addition.
Correct, right? Basically, sa Tagalog, panakip butas sila. Okay. So, kung saan yung butas, gamitin mo sila,
Takpan mo.
Exactly. Right? So, omega-3, where do you get omega-3? Usually, you get it from fatty fishes, like salmon, sardines, bangus, right? EPA, DHA, that entire omega-3, omega-6 situation. So, if you find that you're a person who doesn't like fish or hasn't been eating fish or any sort of fatty fish for the entire week, the usual recommendation is about 2 to 3 servings of a fatty fish throughout the week.
Oh, wow.
So, if you can
To hit that.
Yeah. So if you can do a quick check na, when was the last time I ate some sort of fish? And napansin mo, puro chicken kinakain mo kasi bodybuilder ka or whatever, right? Or puro beef or pork ang kinakain mo because it's not, hindi mo na trip or hindi lang sinaserve, right? Then that becomes the reason why you should start taking in omega-3 supplements. So of course, it's a dose-response variable that the more you do not take from natural foods, the more you need from supplements. And same goes with vitamin D. So vitamin D, alam naman lahat, it's from the sun.
Sun.
Okay, we're in a tropical country, so most likely as long as you're going out,
Yeah.
you won't probably need it, right? Vitamin D was so popularized mostly in Western culture, right? Kasi it's cloudy, right? So yeah, that's the thing. Vitamin D, you want to take it there. The usual recommendation is sun exposure of about 10 to 30 minutes per day. So if you have been doing that, I don't think you need vitamin D.
So you just need to step out
Correct.
and open your arms.
Yeah, and have some sun.
Have some sun.
Yeah, take a
Okay.
vacation, right?
That's a sign to take a vacation.
Yeah, and what's the best way to know? Well, there are a lot of ways to hula, but the surefire way, go get your blood tested. That's the only way that we know. Even me as a professional, I don't have like bionic eyes to see your vitamin D
Walang
levels.
litmus test na ba?
Wala ganon.
What is the purpose of omega-3 fatty acid?
It's usually linked to anti-inflammatory functions, right? So at the same time, since it's a fat thing, it promotes absorption of fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K. So yeah, it works around that area.
I think there is some hesitation from people when it comes to omega-3 fatty acids because the word fat is in it.
Right.
It's like, it's a little bit intimidating.
Correct.
So it's good fat.
It's good fat. Yeah,
Okay.
it's the fat that you want.
Okay, good. Because I've been taking that a while. I have no idea what it's for.
It's good for clear skin too.
Yeah? Okay, good. And hair?
And hair.
And nails.
And nails, correct.
Okay, that's important to me. A lot of other questions regarding supplements. This next one is glutamine and L-theanine. So when should you consider adding them in your supplement routine?
Right. Okay, so same as previous one. Again, it's a
Panakip.
supplement. Panakip butas.
Butas.
Okay, so but you need to know what it's for, right? Actually, glutamine and L-theanine are less popular ones. Typically, you don't hear them being thrown around casually. Glutamine is basically the most abundant amino acid in your entire body. It exists naturally in your muscles. Your lungs produce a huge amount of it naturally. So why do we need to supplement it kung madami siya? In periods of stress, so when I say stress, like this means like any form. So for people who are training, for people who are sick, ayan, dami may sakit ngayon, no? Like parang coughs and colds. For people who are undergoing some sort of work-related
Yeah,
things.
distress ka
Basta
doon.
stress in general. You tend to deplete this amino acid faster than
Really?
usual. So that's why during times of stress, that's where most people need it the most. So when you're about to get sick, it also had links to improving some sort of gut health function. So people who have like digestive issues that relates to either diarrhea or something like that, glutamine can also help in that regard. Ayan. So the other one is
L-theanine.
L-theanine. Okay, so L-theanine naman is a compound that is naturally found in tea. So let me ask you a question. Caffeine is stimulatory,
Yes.
right? Okay. Ang tsaa may kape. May caffeine. Ang tsaa may caffeine.
Meron.
Meron. But how come when you drink tea, it's calming? But when you drink coffee, it's stimulatory.
I've always wondered that.
That's the answer.
Is it L-theanine?
L-theanine, exactly. It
Oh.
exists naturally in teas. And it works the opposite of caffeine. It's an anxiolytic, meaning pampakalma.
So these two are pampakalma.
Correct. No. So the L-theanine lang yung pampakalma.
Okay.
Si glutamine more on immune system function siya.
Pero it helps with stress din.
Yeah, it helps with stress then.
Wow.
Yan. So yung isa is to keep you from getting sick. Yung isa is parang to keep you from getting stressed.
Is magnesium also part of that stack to keep your
It's
stress at bay?
Correct. Yeah, it's a nervous system relaxant. Magnesium
Okay.
it's an electrolyte naman si magnesium. And it's basically a relaxant of the nervous system rather than a relaxant of the muscle.
Okay, we're learning a lot here. There's a lot of I'm writing things down mentally. I like how you brought up electrolytes because our next question is about that, electrolyte supplements. What sets electrolyte supplements apart from hypotonic and isotonic drinks?
Electrolyte supplements kasi are usually, so what are electrolytes first, right? So sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium. Those are your four na electrolytes. So when you say electrolyte supplements, I assume that you're pertaining to a combination of either of these four.
Yeah.
right? So since they exist in powder form, I think the main significance or advantage that they have over those prepared drinks is that you can make your own mix, right? So mas customizable siya. Si isotonic drink kasi and si hypotonic drinks are more conditionally used. So what I mean by that is when you say isotonic, it's as thick as your blood. So the technical computations for it is about it's 5 to 9% solution to solvent. Meaning, kung may 30 grams ka daw na powder, hinalo mo sa 500 ml, o yan, divide mo yung 30 by 500, you get something like 6%. Ayan, may math
Ang
tayo.
daming math.
Chinese, it is what it is. So, 6%.
We're getting
right?
schooled.
So, yung 6% na yun, it's as thick as your blood. So, there's a concept, ayan, kung pertaining to school, balikan mo yung sinabi ni, chemistry teacher. So, this principle called osmosis, right? Ayan, yung water flows from a big concentration to smaller concentration. Okay, so parang tubig, right? You have a big container, you have a small container. Water doesn't stay in the big container, it flows to the smaller container, right? So, ganun din nangyayari sa katawan mo. If you take an isotonic beverage, since pantay sila, you get both carbohydrates and the electrolytes equally. Sabay.
They join forces.
Kasi halos same equilibrium. Whereas a hypotonic solution naman means mas malabnaw siya. So it's less than 5%. Usually mga 3% siya. So in that same analogy, in that vessel mo, yun yung water tank. So high concentration yung ininom mo, it's yung cell mo, yun yung konting concentration. So naturally, the water behaves that it wants to go into the cell faster. So thereby giving you more hydration. So in simpler terms, si hypotonic solution can be used kapag sobrang init ng panahon and you need more hydration rather than nutrients.
Okay.
Si isotonic kapag kailangan mo both. Tapos si electrolyte supplements if gusto mo i-custom.
Okay. Wow. I had no idea about the densities.
Yeah, there's a science behind
Yeah,
it.
there's a spectrum pala. So is there one that's recommended for the athlete or it really depends on the environment and sport?
Again, panakibutas siya, so it's a supplement. So you need to read why you need it and then give the specific one.
What type of supplements keep people healthy generally? Stay away from getting sick, better function. What would you recommend
Usually
as a stack?
Usually as a stack, I would say a general multivitamin can help, but not taken every day, but more like taken once every 2 to 3 days. Just to top up your stores, right? And then the second one, I would say, since weather is like particularly weird right now, I would say glutamine is good.
Okay.
Creatine also good. Basically, everything we discussed today can be part of your stack. None of them are particularly harmful.
Okay.
To include.
Should we also add like vitamin C?
And there should be already
Since
in the
people are
multivitamin already.
Noted. Okay, I have a lot of mental notes for today's episode, and we are going to discuss more about it in the next. But for the final question, this is from Instagram. How can athletes tell if a supplement is safe and effective?
Right. I think the better use of your personal judgment is the best call here. So the first thing that you want to do when you have a supplement is to turn it other way around. Yeah, read the label.
Okay.
So if you have nothing to hide, definitely you should have full disclosure on it, right? So mas maganda na you have all the ingredients listed there, full disclosure labeling basically, right? And the second one is there are some tricks kasi in the industry, like let's say whey protein, may mga amino spiking, and there was an issue with Facebook or whatever because one of the UP professors, a dear friend, si Wisdom, he had some protein brands tested, and then iba-iba yung lumalabas na result. Yung iba 25 grams, yung iba 10 grams lang, yung iba 15. So yeah, having a third party, like yung hindi kaibigan mo, na to test the result and confirm na ganun siya, it's good. So having companies that do the due diligence to get it tested is very, very appreciated kasi at least it gives you na ano ba yung kailangan mo, what are you buying, you are getting what you paid for, basically.
It's so important to get quality, pure ingredients.
Correct. Yeah, and that's the thing as well. Usually when you look at the nutrition label, ingredients are listed from the highest amount to the least amount. So may ganung trick siya.
Okay.
So you would see, let's say you're buying protein. Sometimes you encounter blends, right? Itong blends na to would say, kunwari, a caseinate or something lower quality. So you know na what you're buying is not really pure protein, but rather madaming siyang fillers. And then may konting masabi lang whey protein isolate doon.
There's tricks.
There's tricks to it. That's why having the full disclosure label is important para masabing whey protein isolate, ilang percent, ilang grams, and so on.
It's good to educate ourselves in these sort of topics. And that's exactly why we have this series now called Supplementation Simplified. So personally, for my vitamin stack and supplementation, I choose NutriBio.
Right.
It looks better if it's all the same. Just kidding.
the green and
Aesthetically.
black. No,
Yeah.
legit. NutriBio is a good brand
Yeah.
because it does fulfill all the three
Yes.
requirements. That it does have a third-party testing. When you flip the supplement over, meron siya actually na may labeling siya that shows those items. So yeah, it's a good brand. It's a very trusted brand.
Okay, great. Because my entire supplementation stack is NutriBio.
Kasi otherwise
We
you need to,
love
like, check
NutriBio
out.
here, and you
Yeah.
guys can get it through Nutrition Depot PH. Check out the entire stack and join us for more supplementation simplified in the next episodes. Thank you so much, Tim.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, everybody.
Nutrition Depot, your fitness fuel.